What up, y'all? And we back with another episode of the Hood Nerd Red Pill Talk podcast. I got a chance to read Will's GQ article, and it was insightful, saddening. I felt sorry for him. But I also thought it's a teachable moment, again, to talk to some guys. Because it's the one thing I keep telling you. I don't care how good looking you are. I don't care how much money you have. She's going to get bored if you're a nice guy. They just don't want that. We're going to start off with Pepper from Salt and Pepper as she reminisced. And what did she say? I sometimes kick myself when I think about what could have been. Although the rapper has long let go of her never-to-be love story with the noble husband of Jada Pinkett Smith and father of two, well, actually father of three, but two with Jada, she still cherished their moments together and have learned to appreciate him the hard way. I guess I couldn't appreciate a nice guy like Will Smith. He wasn't thug enough. I wasn't attracted to thugs and hoodlums. Will was too nice to me, she added. And I keep telling you, at the end of the day, she looks at a man as some type of patient almost. She's going to settle for the nice guy at the end because her sexual market value is on a decline and she's looking to get off the market. So she always know the nice guy will always be there. But she gets bored with the nice guy because what? He's going to run her bathwater. He's going to take the garbage out. He's going to go to work every day. He's going to kiss her. He's going to do everything she asks. And you know what happens when he does everything she asks? She has nothing to complain about. And a woman ain't happy unless she has something to complain about. Life ain't good if she can't complain, man. The second you understand that, the easier it's going to be to kind of deal with women. So, it also says, almost 40 years down the line, the two have created different paths for themselves. Will found his soulmate, Jada, found his. She ain't find hers. We'll get into that. And the pair are one of Hollywood's most celebrated power couples, while the reality TV star has got herself a younger boo with whom she has found happiness. And that's also interesting. But what we're going to do is lead up into that GQ article so I can show you why he said he was in an open marriage. Because he had no choice at this point.
Happy birthday.
Oh my goodness. That's funny. Do you have a bucket list? That's a good question. I actually do, but it's not.
Now, this is Arsenio saying happy 50th birthday to her just a couple of days ago. But I want you to hear exactly what she said was on her bucket list.
Not physical. It's just not physical.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm right there with you. I absolutely have a bucket list.
I really want to learn how to love, but I know what it isn't.
Yeah.
And I'm just on the journey of really understanding what love is.
Yeah. So everything on your bucket list right now is just part of your spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Your path right
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to hear
Happy
that.
birthday.
Oh, but I know what it isn't.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I absolutely have a bucket list.
I really want to learn how to love, but I know what it isn't.
Yeah.
And I'm just on the journey of.
Can you imagine what that feels like? It's her husband to be sitting there through everything you've been through, And once again, she smacks you in the face. I want to learn how to love. Now, again, I keep trying to tell you that the ones who are going to give you all of the relationship advice, those women, those usually the ones who are narcissists. They got a lot of issues going on in their head, at home, all over the place. And the one place they feel valuable at is where? Giving you advice. Makes them feel worthy. Makes them feel like they're needed. So,
Did you?
so let's get that out of here. So we're going to go to where a lot of this also goes. In the root of this whole problem, which is right here.
A lot of people, talk about my relationship with Pac and trying to figure that out, that was a huge loss in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because he was one of those people that I expected to be here. Now, my upset is more anger.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel that he left me. And I know that's not true. And it's a
Right.
very selfish way to think about it, but I really did believe that he was going to be here for the long run.
Right.
In the long run, man, I really thought once I kind of finished playing nice girl with Will, and you kind of got out of the street part, because see, you got to understand also, she looked at Pac as just a best friend at first, because Pac was a goofy also. Now, we'll do an episode on Juice one day, but once Pac played Bishop and Juice, he never left that role. See, he left from playing Bishop back into the rap game, and Brenda's got it up. That Pac died. Forward, he was a gangster after Juice. Every day, through and through. See, everybody who knew Pac prior to Juice would tell you the same thing. Sweet, kind guy, loving guy. Now, all of a sudden, he played Bishop and Juice, and he lost it. But guess what? Jada fell in love with that guy. She wanted a sexual relationship with that guy. See, keep your head up, and Brenda's got a baby Pop. She just wanted to be best friends with that guy. It's too nice. Didn't want a relationship. But still at this point, Pac died in, I think, 96, I believe. 96 or 97. I think it was 97, though. I'm not sure. But I do think it was 90. It's either 96 or 97. But here we are, what? 25 years later. She still ain't got over it. Again, do you understand what that must be like to be married to a woman who is in love with another man? Who you find this woman to be your soulmate, but every time you hear keep your head up, every time you hear somebody talking about the greatest rapper alive, she views him as her soulmate, not you. She basically settled for you. And for Will, I know it's got to be. How are you supposed to win when you fighting ghosts? You can't even win this fight. And it's a because each year that goes past, guess what? His aura grows. Everything she remembers magnifies. Greatest rapper alive when he died? Hell no. But in death, people over exaggerate things. So at this point now, do they look at him as the GOAT? A lot of people do. Was he better than Scarface, Ice Cube, and KRS-One when he died? No, he was not. I don't know too many people thought he was better than Big, Nas, KRS-One, Scarface, or Ice Cube. Don't really know too many people who felt that way when Pac died. After he died, it got out of control. So now we go to the next video. Go down this rabbit hole of she's embarrassing him in front of the world, every which way he can look. Had no choice but to tell you, I want an open marriage now. Because he looks in front of the whole world. It's not getting any trouble.
We met up
There we
in
go.
high school. Parker was a little funny looking. Definitely from looking at him, wasn't necessarily like the type of cat that I would even like deal with, you know. But as soon as he approached me, he was like a magnet. It was like once you told him, he kind of sucked you in. And we hit it off from that moment on. He would tell me all the time, Jada, you're gonna be a star. You know what I mean? Really, like, all right, come on. It's like, you're gonna be a star. You got it. You just got it. I don't think either one of us really thought that we would have made it in the way that we did. But we knew we were gonna do something. He was one of my best friends. He was like a brother. And sorry.
That's what I'm saying. It's a best friend. Will can't win here. See, he's gonna always speak glowingly of Jada. But Jada's going through all of these issues because what? Her best friend died. The love of her life is dead. And she didn't get a chance to sleep with him, which I know there's a lot of regret in that because I know she's really hurt. Pac wanted that type of relationship with her. She didn't with him. She didn't feel like he was gutter enough. She told you he wasn't the type of guy I would date. Why is that? Because the Pac she knew and grew up with and went to high school with, he was a thespian. This was an actor. This was a guy who wrote poems and stuff like that. He was a good guy. Sort of like Will. Then he transformed.
He was I mean, it was beyond friendship for us, you know, as far as just, it was really difficult to explain because the type of relationship we had, you only get that once in a lifetime. So he was like a brother, father figure to me.
Now, she had to say brother, father figure, even though her and Pop wasn't too far age-wise from each other. So I don't know what the hell she talking about father figure, but she had to say that because at this point, she with Will. She can't just come out and say that's the love of my life. But she did tell you that type of love only comes once in a lifetime. So what is going on here? She settled for Will. Will understands that.
Very protective, and we took really good care of each other. We took really good care of each other, the best that we could. But we gave each other a lot.
Now, Will was jealous of Pop. How do I know that? Because I heard him say that.
Were you ever jealous of the love Jada had for Tupac?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I thought you
Oh
said
my
no.
God, that dude, and you know, that was in the early days.
Yeah.
That was in the early days, and it was like, that was a big regret for me. I could never open up to interact with Pop, you know, and because we had a little bit of a thing, right? Because you know, they grew up together. And you know they loved each other, but they never had that. You know, they never had a sexual relationship. But then come into that age where now that was a possibility, and then
Exactly. They came into the age when Will met her, where Pop was turning into a gangster. He was Pop. And you got to understand, when she said he wasn't the type of guy she would date, he wasn't good enough for her. Same as what Pepper said, why she didn't date Will Smith. They wanted a hoodlum, a thug. After Bishop, and he changed his stilo up, and he's shooting at the cops, and he's getting in all this trouble, and now he's death row, and now he's out west, and he's spitting on people, putting the middle finger up. Oh, she thought that was it now. Because now what she's thinking is, this is my best friend in your hood. He got her. That's what I need. That's all I was waiting for him to display this type of behavior. We would have been perfect. Does Will know that? Will telling you that.
Jada was with me, so, Pac had a little thing on that. But she just loved him. Like, he was the image of perfection, but she was with the Fresh Prince, so it was like, I never could, like, even we were in a room together a couple times, I couldn't speak to him, and, he wasn't going to speak to me if I wasn't going to speak to him. But
It's like y'all have so much in common.
all the time, she was like, I'm telling you, y'all are so similar. You will love him. And I just never.
And you know why she said it was so similar? Because what Will is actually who Tupac is. And it's why I've always told people his music doesn't hit me like that, because I know he's a fraud. I know he's not a gangster. And I know he's not a hood dude. So the gangster music don't hit the same to me. It's like Buddy on CB4. It's like Chris Rock on CB4 to me. So when people say Pac was the realest dude alive, no, he wasn't. He was an actor. And he did it. He was one of the greatest actors you ever saw. He was able to convince the world from Bishop and Juice to he took his early death that he was a gangster, man. I hadn't seen nothing like this before. So I definitely knew he could act, because he carried that role and played that in real life to perfection, where people actually bought into it. But that's why Jada's telling Will, y'all got so much in common. Because they both mama's boys. They both nice guys. They both kind-hearted. They both got big hearts. Ain't nothing really gutter about either one of them. But Pac lost who he was and started, he never could shake playing the role of Bishop. He loved the attention he got and the respect he got when he was Bishop. So he just stayed that.
Bro, that was a huge regret of mine. I couldn't handle it. I was the soft rapper from Philly, and he was Pac.
Right.
You know what I
Can't do a
mean?
diss song about you or nothing.
I know, right? Exactly. But yeah, I was deeply insecure, and just I wasn't man enough to handle that relationship.
I gotta get over it.
Again, of course you have to say you're an open marriage, because everything that's out here about what Jada has been doing, who she's been doing. But for a long time, the writing's been on the wall. She's not in love with him. But Will is what you call a fixer. He's one of those guys, yo, you tell me what's wrong, babe, or you tell me what role I need to play, I'll play it for you. You need me to do this, I'll do it for you. Will is a guy who I would tell you, without any money, would probably be close to being an incel. Wouldn't have the courage to go talk to a cute girl and get shot down. Just wouldn't happen. And it's why I tell you again, the money only means something for so long. Once you marry, you get the money, get used to the lifestyle and all those things. After a couple of years, she's going to get bored. And she's going to say, I bought all the shoes. I've lived in a big, pretty house, drove the cars, traveled the world. What's next? See, the money only going to hold up for so long before she looks at you and say, I'm just bored with this. This, as an individual, he just ain't who I want to be with. So we'll get to this.
Tupac and Jada Pinkett. Did you see the unreleased poem that Jada Pinkett shared on Tupac's birthday that Tupac wrote her?
Yeah, I seen the poem, the post that she, her Instagram post. You know, she put up the poem that Pop wrote for her. It was dope.
She put a poem up that he wrote for her, and she read it and cried like a baby. And again, how embarrassing is that to her husband, who you just heard him state, I can't compete with him. He's Pop, and I'm just the Fresh Prince.
Definitely. You know, Jada Pinkett and Pac, it was very close, very, very close. I remember when I first came around Pac, Jada Pinkett was in a movie. It might have been the first movie she ever starred in with the Wayne brothers, or one of the Wayne brothers. I forget the name of it. And we was in Atlanta. And he just said, we're going to the movies. And we went to the movies. And I'm a kid, and I'm like, this movie boring as hell. You know what I mean? But Pac just was staring at the screen, just paying attention, and he was, really heavily involved in the movie and very focused. And then after, the movie was over, I think a couple of days later, I heard him mention it to someone that he knew the actress, which is Jada Pinkett. Later on, she became a star. You know what I mean? The second time I probably heard him talk about is when, he went to LA. He was very upset. You know what I mean? Pac came in the room. He's like, man, Jada, she won't contact me and tell me don't do nothing to Will Smith. Like, I don't know why she think that I would have tried to make some problems with Will Smith. So I guess it kind of hurt him that, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Don't do nothing. Now, Will is taller and bigger than Pop, but she views Will as what? That statement lets you know she views Will as what? Weak. Weak. He ain't man enough to deal with Pop. And again, that's why you'll see her state what she states when she says, what about Pac at first? When she knew him in high school and he was just dancing and singing and acting Pop, that wouldn't be a guy I would date. And see, for me, like I tell cats, not to make this a Pac episode, but, I've seen him from the beginning with Digital Underground. When he was background dancing, string on hump for them. So see, for me, I can't unsee that, and then you come to me with your hat to the back with a sucker in your mouth or a toothpick and a nose ring and start talking tough. No, dog. I already saw you in the G-string humping on a blow-up dial with Digital Underground. Like, this is who you are, and it's cool. You Brenda's got a baby. You keep your head up. I get around. I get it. You all around the world, same song. That's fine, man. But the gangster stuff, I just couldn't never buy it, man.
He had a lot of love for Jada Pinkett, a lot of respect for her. A lot of respect for her.
So Tupac was cool with Jada Pinkett and Will Smith dating and talking at that time.
Was he cool with them? He had no other choice, I think. You know what I mean? I think Pac respected Jada Pinkett so much where that was her choice. And he was the type of person that he's going to, you know what I mean? He's going to support her. He like I said, he to Will Smith.
And him stating lets you know what? That relationship was now a lot deeper than if she told you brother and father figure. That's not how she viewed him anymore. And I don't think she ever viewed him that way, but that's the only way you can say that when you got a husband and a family at home.
From a standpoint not to be violent towards him. And I think that just probably hurt him more than, anything, because he was like, what do you think this is? I'm not like just walking around being, this impulsive, violent individual. So I think that probably kind of hurt his feelings at that particular time,
Shock G, what was your reaction when you found out the news that Shock G passed away?
Now, before we get to the rest of that, before we get to this GQ article, we're going to go to this last video where they talk about the entanglement. Well, they also let you know they ain't in no open marriage. But what else can he say when, again, she's embarrassed him again out in public?
You've been on a hell of a journey.
And to be honest, I do believe she slept with Pac. Because to still have that type of emotion and feeling, something happened between them two. Now, of course, she can never say it because that would be to then admit to Will that I slept with him also behind your back. And if she admits to sleeping with him, then Will can now put two and two together to say what? I don't measure up to him probably sexually to her either. Maybe that's why she's fiending and pining, opining over him and crying like this. Has to be. That's the only way I can really make sense of the way she behaves when it comes to Pac and his legacy and his memory is Pac smashed. And in my head, to be honest with you, putting everything together, I honestly think they was probably real close to being with each other and her leaving Will. Pac died though, and that was no longer an option. So she settled.
With Nick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, there's people's feelings involved.
Right. Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's healing that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what happened, Jada?
Okay, so I think it was about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Started a friendship with August,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually became really, really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it all started with him just needing some help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, me wanting to help his health, his mental state, and we found all those different resources,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to help pull him through.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, again, we talked about this already, but we already know what would have happened if this was a guy. They would have called him a sexual predator and a sick perv and a creep for taking advantage of a woman's mental state and having sex with her. She's able to get away with that because to society, men are nothing but sex toys.
from there, you know, you and I were going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
That particular point in time, it was indefinite.
Yeah. I really felt like we could be over. You
Yeah,
know?
no, we were
over. And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, you know, I think from there, you know, as time went on,
this would have been the perfect time for him to come and say our marriage is open. This would have been the perfect time. See, if it was open, this was the perfect time to come out and say, yo, we're in an open marriage. And, you know, we got some rules that we play by. And, you know, it's just not conventional. Could have been like Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis, which were mentors to them. But since he didn't say it here, it's hard for me to believe now when he says there is an open marriage. I mean, probably in terms of you can sleep with who you want to sleep with, and I'm going to sleep with who I want to sleep with, and we ain't getting a divorce type of open marriage. But is it an open marriage in terms of they best friends and enjoying life and coming back to each other? Nah, I doubt it.
To a different kind of entanglement.
I think you need to say clearly what happened.
And I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
That's what I said.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship.
Yes, it was a relationship. Absolutely.
We decided that we were going to separate for a period of time and you go figure out how to make yourself happy.
I was in a lot of pain.
Now, again, this is him throwing her olive branch again because what? I can't say she cheated. Because if you're in an open marriage, what she did with August Alsina does not hurt. And it don't even bother you because that's just part of the game and that's part of the rules in which you're playing with. So again, that's why I tell you, I know when he came out in this magazine, did this article, again, it's him trying to protect his children and his family and his image at this point. Because Jada done ran the man through the mud. But again, this is what happened when you deal with hood chicks. A hood chick is not meant to be brought into regular, normal civilization. Sorry. She don't know how to operate in that. Now, what she will do, like I told you, is she will evolve into the 40, 50-year-old woman with wisdom and knowledge. And now she's trying to kick all this science to everybody about how to be in a great relationship and hold hands and make this work and do this and do that. And love is this and that. But then when you deep dive into her life, you find out everything is in shambles. She's not really qualified to be giving you advice.
It's very broken. Now, in the process of that relationship, I definitely realized that you can't find happiness outside of yourself.
Mhm.
And luckily enough, you and I were also going through a process of healing in a much different manner. I would.
During that time, launched into an interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also tell you it's BS because not one time has Will, he won't ever tell you what it was she did for them to break up. Is she a sex addict? Probably so. And I know it has to hurt him to his core to know sexually he can't tame her. He can't keep her satisfied. She was willing to throw it all away for a kid. And again, it's why I tell you I have the rules I have in my relationship already and the boundaries I have. As long as you don't ask me to raise another man's kid and you don't bring me a disease can't be cured, we can have a conversation for everything else. Because you just have to understand these are possibilities in a relationship.
With August.
And so you end up looking stupid like Will. It's my homie. This, that. We built on this. We built on that. When in fact, you're not built on that. And once it comes to light that you're not built on that, it's again, like I told you with the boundaries you set realistic boundaries so you never out here looking like a fool. Because once you're looking like a fool, you don't really have nothing but one decision to make. But at this point, he's not willing to throw it away. So he just gonna die with her doing this to him. That's the lot in life he's chosen.
What do you feel like you were looking for?
I just wanted to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
It had been so long since I felt good.
Now, when she's saying it's been so long since she felt good, she's talking about since her and Pop probably had sex. Or the last entanglement she was in. She's not talking about with Will. That I can promise you.
Husband, now I got to be with you at the press conference while you tell the world about your transgressions.
See, if you're in an open marriage, you don't have transgressions. This is just the rules by which you live and you play by.
But I love my baby. I'm gonna stand by my baby no matter what.
No, I definitely understand why it would look that way or feel that way, but I actually don't look at it as a transgression at all. Through that particular journey, I learned so much about myself and was able to really confront a lot of emotional immaturity, emotional insecurity, and I was really able to do some really deep healing. It was really a joy to just somebody.
Yeah. Because I wasn't sure I was ever going to speak to you again.
I know.
Yeah.
Again, what did she just tell you? I need somebody to fix. And that's the one thing I keep telling you. That's a woman's perfect dream. That's why she loves the bad boy and the thug so much. Because he has the edge. But it's something for her to occupy her time with. He has plenty of flaws, so she always has something to complain about, and she always has a task at hand. See, when she gets the good guy again, there's no task at hand. So at some point, guess what? Yeah, he gonna go do this, he gonna go do that, he gonna go do this. But he ain't gonna never tell me no, he don't tell me to shut up. I don't feel any excitement here. there's some excitement when she knows that Hood, the thug dude, might cheat on her. There's some excitement to know that when she's out with a guy or a husband or a boyfriend or whatever, that he done slept with a couple of these women in his club, and that now she's the one that he's tied down with. So y'all think these women heads don't work like this, but I'm telling you, this is what's actually going on inside that brain. I've had plenty enough conversations with them to understand how this plays out.
Like the fact that I'm speaking to you again is a miracle. I don't want to go through this no more.
Yeah, no,
And again, he told you, we was at a point where I thought I wasn't going to talk to you again, which lets you know what? This ain't no open marriage, man. Now, like I said, where they are now, it could just be a situation. Yo, I'm sleeping one wing, you living on the other wing. We'll make appearances with each other. But I got my little thing, you got your little thing. And that's just the way we're going to ride life out together. Periodically, we may come together on some drunk nights. If we need an itch scratched, and neither one of us got nobody to scratch that itch, we'll scratch each other's back. But besides that, you know, this thing is what we knew it to be is over.
not either.
Yeah. I'm gonna get you back first, and then
You don't get me back. I think you got me back. I think we're good on that, okay?
okay.
I wish, you know, I wish that wasn't the case. I do. I wish that wasn't the case.
Yeah, and you hear her say, I think you have gotten me back, which means what? He done probably stepped out also. Probably. Not sure what she inferring to or referring to there, but one leads you to believe and to assume he's probably repaid her back a few times already from some of her past transgressions, which is why I told you this is not an open marriage. Now, is she probably a sex addict? Sure she is. I wouldn't doubt that at all. So we go to the end of this article where the author is reading some, and he said Will was talking about foreshadowing tidbits about marital acrimony. Jada, her husband, writes, hadn't wanted a traditional wedding ceremony, but gave in to the pressure. This would be the first of many compromises Jada would make over the years that painfully negated her own values. What was her own value? I'm a free spirit, and I ain't really looking to just be tied down to one man unless he can sexually satisfy me. Now, again, that's also what I'll tell you. When a woman is sexually satisfied by a man, ain't gonna be no open marriage. Not by her anyway. A woman is women are very possessive and selfish. She told you that already. She's a selfish person. So the one thing I can conclude from that statement is what then? If she's willing to share Will sexually, that means that what? He ain't doing it for me sexually, so I'll allow you to go out and do what you're going to do with other women. But I need somebody else who can come in and put it down the way I need it to be put down. Because if you are putting it down, you go ask your girl about an open relationship and see what she say. If she tell you that's something we can talk about, I'm telling you, if it's an idea she brought to the table, it's because she's not satisfied sexually and she just has some other things, some other desires she wants filled. Now, if you bring it to the table and tell her, hey, yo, this is the only option, and she tell you no, but she's willing to cave at the end, then that's, I don't want to lose what I'm getting from him. So 60% of him is better than 0%. So I'll live with that. Years later, Smith persuaded her to move into a massive 256-acre compound that she was dead set against purchasing. Will states nothing good comes from spending your hard-earned money on a family home that your wife doesn't want, Smith writes. You're putting a down payment on discord, and for years you will be paying off a mortgage of misery or worse. And again, if she ain't want it, if he was smart, he would have about Pac. But again, also it's his ego. I'll never be bigger than Pac in rap, but guess what? Prize. I got the girl he wants. So with that, he wanted to keep giving her the world. And his ego was big and he was overcompensating because what? He couldn't satisfy her. He started to give her all of these other things to do what? To try and make up for that. But Jada's telling him, I need you to show up inside these four walls. That's a hell of a double entendre too, if you know what I mean. But article goes on to say the harsh reality for those who love a dreamer is that everything comes second to the dream. As Smith's stardom grew, his wife would wake up many mornings in tears. At one point, she turned down an opportunity for her band to open for Guns N' Roses so that Smith could continue shooting The Pursuit of Happiness. And again, they make enough money so that she could have did that. That's BS. But I keep trying to tell you, she'll figure out a way. At the end, when she's ready to go, she'll figure out things in the present to start nitpicking at the silliest of things to make big issues so that she can tell you, yo, this is your fault. This is why I did this. Because she's already stated to you what? I got issues. Every time she does something, it's, hey, I was raised in a tough environment. I was raised like this. I need to feel good. I need to feel worthy. So see, she got childhood trauma that Will could never fix. Things reached a breaking point by Jada's 40th birthday in 2011 when Will spent 3 years planning a private family and friends dinner in Santa Fe, where he screened a documentary he commissioned that chronicled her life and traced her family lineage back to slavery, and in which he tracked down a descendant of the white family who once. When they got back to the hotel suite that night, Jada was nearly silent. And to be honest with you, that's a lot of love he just showed right there. Because I ain't never going through nothing like that for a birthday. You getting dinner in a movie or a trip for me, and that's it. Good night. When they got back to the hotel suite that night, Jada was nearly silent. That was the most disgusting display of ego I've ever seen in my life, Smith. Now, was it ego? No, it was a great gesture. But you know why she felt that way? It is also a woman who what? She doesn't feel like she deserves Will's love. She knows she doesn't love him the way he loves her. So anytime he goes and he showers her with these gifts and shows her how much he loves her, guess what? She's gonna shoot it down. Why is that? She doesn't feel like she can reciprocate that. Well, she knows she can't reciprocate that on that level. Never have, never will. Now, it also goes to state at some point their relationship stopped being monogamous. Jada never believed in conventional marriage. Jada had family members that had an unconventional relationship. So she grew up in a way that was very different than how I grew up. take it for what you want to take it, man. I keep trying to tell y'all, you keep thinking these women are these wholesome mommy homemakers. That's not who's out here. She wants sex just as much as the guy wants it. She just shames you and calls you a pig for it. Now, when you want it, you're a misogynistic pig. When she wants it all the time, she has a high sex drive, and you need to be able. Excuse that. My wife home, so my dog gets super excited when either one of us get. So there were significant endless discussions about what is relational perfection. What is the perfect way to interact as a couple? And for the large part of our relationship, not thinking of monogamy as the only relational perfection, Smith told me. We have given each other trust and freedom with the belief that everybody has to find their own way. And marriage for us can't be a prison. There's only one person in jail in this marriage, and that's you. See, you ever hear this, Will? She's the one who has all the freedom. She has you out here looking like a clown on you out here saying we're in open marriage. You out here holding her hands through this August Alsina stuff. You got rumors of her sleeping with Chris Kelly when he was underage and she was an adult and he was with Chris Cross. You got her love for Pac. You got all of these things going on. You got Pepper saying you was too nice. You have all of these things going on. And what are you doing? The more she embarrasses you, the tighter you close. You want to shield yourself and protect your family. She don't need no protection, bro. Best thing you can do is get up and leave. That's the only way at this point, Will, you're going to be able to have some freedom. You're going to have to check out. I don't suggest our role for anybody. I don't suggest this role for anybody. But the experiences the freedoms that we've given one another and the unconditional definition of love. Now, it can't be unconditional support because we just heard a video of him saying what? I was out. We was gone. We was apart for some months. I had checked out on you. I don't know if we could have even made it back. We just heard back in 2011, they was talking about ending the marriage. Support. And he also told you, I don't suggest this role for anybody. So if you don't suggest this role for anybody, how are you taking this role? But this is what happens when you end up with beta males pretending to be alphas. He can never satisfy a woman like Jada, but he's going to go to his grave trying to. And the one, he'll never be able to blow Jada's back out the way she wants it to be done. That's all this is really about. He does not sexually satisfy. And because he can't do that, she's going to always be out there in the streets, man. That chick for the streets, man. She told you that's where she from. And as they say when you die, from the dirt and the ground which you came is from the dirt and from that corner is where you found her. And on that corner is where you should send her back to. Let her be, man. Smith grappled with whether to include all of that stuff in his book, and it was clear that the final version could look different than the one I saw. But ultimately, he decided to leave details out. There was no way to chronicle the parts that happened next from solely his own perspective. There was no way to tell his story without telling others too. It felt like it was a whole book unto itself, Smith explained. And again, if he was comfortable about this oh so great open marriage that he has and this great relationship that he has, be very candid about speaking about it at this point. But he doesn't, because he's not in really an open marriage. To be honest, I told you, I think the marriage is basically done. And I think at this point, it's just a charade. So, they also go on and talk about the August Alsina situation, where Will and Jada took themselves to the red table for a 12-minute discussion of the dynamics of their relationship. This did not necessarily clear things up. The public has a narrative that is impenetrable, Smith said. Once the public decides something, it's difficult to impossible to dislodge the pictures and ideas and perceptions. Because the impetus for the red table talk was Alsina's disclosures, a viewer could have walked away thinking that Jada was the only one engaging in other sexual relationships, when that was not. Smith delicately explained to me, in fact, the case. So, again, if he had stepped out, then that was his time to lay his on the table. I was doing this also. That's why I said I'm not sure what they was talking about. As any real good publicist would have told them both at that point, if you're in an open marriage, now is the perfect time to tell the world. You can make all this go away and say, hey, yo, we're in an open marriage. This is just how we play. This is how we keep things fresh and spicy or whatever in our relationship. And it works for us. And that would have been the end of it. Wouldn't have been nothing about an entanglement or any of that. But because I know last July 20th, because once they did that, he was still talking about leaving her. And I definitely know you wasn't in an open marriage July 2020. So now, again, like I said, August, September 2021. Could you be for the sake of just saying you married? Sure, you could. But I don't think you are in a traditional open marriage. Take one of the memes spawned by their discussion, a screenshot of Smith looking stern-faced and droopy-eyed. It was midnight, and we were going on vacation the next day, Smith explained, noting that the details they were discussing were, by that point, years in the past. It was like, no, guys, I'm not sad. I'm effing exhausted. Maybe. You could have been exhausted, but you wasn't cool talking about it at that point either. And you didn't have to wait till midnight to do it. But see, Will gonna write a tell-all book one day, and he gonna bare his soul, and it's not gonna be what you guys think it's gonna be either. I'm pretty sure he may come out, yo, she slept with a lot of men, and therefore I stepped out. Or he could say he stepped out first and started this. I doubt it, because he stated from the jump she never wanted a conventional marriage. So see, would it shock me if he says Jada was bisexual, threesomes, and all these things? No, it wouldn't. It just wouldn't. Because the more you hear Jada talk, she still hasn't found herself. But she's trying to heal everybody else. And we did a deep dive on this already when she told us therapist. So this is a woman who's 50 now, who's trying to give, as my wife would say, therapize the people. She's trying to therapize the people and do what? Tell you, though, I'm too good for therapy. So she got a lot of childhood trauma she hasn't dealt with, but she's trying to help you deal with your stuff. I was supposed to be, wait a minute, where are we at? Okay, yeah. He says it was clear Smith had more to say. I could feel him rubbing up against the guardrails that he and Jada had established about what they would discuss publicly. Again, so we already know who's in control of even this interview. Will wasn't at liberty to speak. And see, maybe Will is the submissive one in the relationship and Jada's the dominant one. He told me he talked with Jada, but when we spoke again a few weeks later, he said he wasn't sure he wanted to go much deeper, which means Jada 80-60. No, you can't talk about that. So Again, will he get a divorce and have a tell-all book? Maybe so. So this interview ends basically with him saying, Will told me, I want to help you. I want you to succeed. I want you to have a headline. But by the same token, I don't want to deal with the backlash of that in the world. To say I don't want to talk about that 3 years ago would have been effing excruciating for me. So when he's saying I don't want to deal with the backlash, it's some stuff we still don't know. There is some stuff even bigger than him dropping the bombshells. So with that ending and that article ending, where are we at now? We're at a place where, as I told you, the title of this is Smiling Faces, Sometimes They Lie. I always tell you about Robin Williams and how he kept everybody laughing. And then people looked up one day and he checked out. He committed suicide. But see, that's on the flip side. With us knowing 80% of women are the ones who file for divorce, how many women smile in your face, our faces? How many of our wives smile in our faces on a day-to-day basis, but terribly unhappy? And they get up one day and they just come to you and drop a bombshell and say, hey, yo, I'm checking out. I'm leaving. And you'll say, yeah, I never had a clue. You know why you never had a clue? Smiling faces, sometimes they lie, man. They'll tell you, I love you, babe. You're the greatest thing in the world, day in and day out. But when she fed up, she fed up. And she on to the next, man. So as I leave here, I'm going to leave you with this little bit of red pill advice. That love language, that sex language, same thing she telling you, she told the last guy, and she going to tell the next guy. It's your boy, the Hood Nerd. I'm out.